Wouldn't it be great if you could move like you did when you were a kid? Welcome back to the Crack the Code podcast. I'm your host, Cora Naylor, and today that's exactly what we're going to be talking about. Today, we're going to be talking to Anne Klausner, who's passionate about changing the way we think about chronic pain and health. No one should be told that pain is normal or to get used to it. In 2001, Anne started her career in health and wellness as an aquatic therapist at the Sheba Rehabilitation Hospital in Israel. After moving with her family to Toronto in 2006, she added certifications as a personal trainer and exercise therapist, delving into the study of neurology of movement and pain. In 2016, Anne founded Exercise with Care in order to spread her vision of health and well-being. She specializes in working with those who suffer from aches and pains, helping them to rediscover what does feel good and how to change movement habits and return to an active lifestyle. Anne's philosophy is that we don't stop moving because we are getting older. We feel older because we stop moving. I love that, and so excited to have you on here today.
Thank you, Cora. It's such a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much.
Yeah. I mean, that's sort of one of my main things is I want to live a long time, but I want to be healthy. And I get so motivated when I see, videos of ladies that are like 80 or 90 on Facebook that are doing gymnastics or, cool things. And I mean, I'm going to be 60 this year, and I know people younger than me that are like, oh, I could never do that. I can't do anything. And it's like, oh my gosh, we still got so many years left.
So this is sort of off topic, but on topic. I just heard this week there's a new documentary airing at the Toronto Hot Docs Festival, which is right now, and it's about some groups of synchronized swimmers that they're all, I think the oldest one is 95, and they're all in their 70s and 80s, and they're still competing with each other and doing all the, the stuff that they do. And like, I can't wait till this is like being aired to the general
Oh,
public.
that's so cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so motivating to know that, we don't necessarily have to have all these aches and pains, like just not writing it
No.
off because we're getting older. So maybe you can give us a little more background into, how you got so passionate about going in this direction.
So it actually started when I was working as an aquatic therapist, and I noticed all the time that people would come into the water and they never felt pain in the water. And then I was working in a hospital, so people were there, they were in a lot of pain, most of them after accidents, traumatic injuries. But once they got into the water, they'd be like, saying, "Can I sleep here?" It's like, no, you can't sleep in the water. And I didn't understand why, but it was very interesting to me. And then much later, I had a case also while I was still working in the water of a young woman who was only 18 years old, sudden onset of extreme pain in her body. And, all the doctors were saying, oh, you're stressed because of your final exams. You're just, you're being a teenager. It's all in your head. And she really lost a lot of function and she was suffering. And all they could say is, you have fibromyalgia, you'll get used to the pain. To an 18-year-old, this is unfathomable. And make a long story short, she did eventually get better. She did heal. She did not get used to the pain and she's living her life right now. And it just stayed with me. What if her parents had believed the doctors?
Yeah.
What's going on here? How did the medical profession get it so wrong? So when I started to study the neurology of pain and movement, it was such an eye-opener because everything is our brain's interpretation. And I can really explain this so easily. Cora, do you ever watch horror movies? The Shining,
Yeah.
Carrie?
Yeah. Yeah.
And what happens when you watch them?
Yeah. You get tense
Get
up.
tense?
Yeah. Yeah.
You get scared?
Mm-hmm.
Why? It's a movie.
Yeah. I know. It's just our brain thinking
Your
it's
brain
something bad
believes what it
happening.
sees and hears.
Yeah.
The when that amygdala, that little, survival fear center turns on, the prefrontal cortex, the thinking part, turns off.
Mm.
So our brain believes what our sensory system is telling it, even if that information is incorrect.
Yeah.
So if we're going through our lives and we are, with our phones, staring at our computers, basically in tunnel vision, Tunnel vision is a mode of fear. Tunnel vision we use when we have to really focus in on a problem, when we're in danger. We focus in. Again, going back to scary movies, it's a tool used, well, by Hitchcock. He was the
Mm.
king of everything filmed through a window frame, a door frame, a curtain. Tunnel vision. Tunnel vision scares us. It makes us very nervous. So it's no wonder that we're all, in a state of stress and anxiety. And that's why people say, get out into nature. You get the wide range of vision, everything calms down. So even our vision, what you're seeing and how you're looking at it, affects your mental state. If you're in a constant state of tunnel vision, your nervous system is on high alert, every little thing is going to hurt.
Mm.
If you've had surgery or an injury somewhere in your body, every surgery we talk about cutting the skin, the muscles, we're also cutting the nerves. So there's a disruption of your nervous system. Your brain, if you had, say, I don't know, a C-section, if you had a C-section, your brain's not quite sure where that part of your body is anymore. And so you're not moving correctly, and now you have back pain.
Mm.
And once you rehab the nerves of that scar, the back pain goes away.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
all down to our nervous system. Because
Interesting.
it's so cool.
Yeah. And I know a lot of that sort of flows over into what I do too with the emotions, because it's all in our subconscious, and our subconscious is just trying to protect us. So they
100%.
really go hand in hand with what you're doing, I think.
That's right. That's
Hmm.
right.
Yeah, it'd be great if doctors could kind of work more hand in hand with other like people like you or with me to help
Right.
people really get to the core of what's really going on with them.
Right.
So yeah, yeah.
In a more
So
holistic way to look at the
yeah,
entire person. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
instead of just the band-aid, like you say, the girl with fibromyalgia. So many people suffer with things like that, and the medical community doesn't have the answers for that. So it's nice to
They don't
know.
have the answers, and it's just, here's the quick fix, take the medication, even though the
Mhm.
medication has side effects, and in 20 years, you're going to be a mess from all those side effects. And it's okay, give the pain medication, but also search for, refer
Yeah,
to a holistic practitioner such as yourself, myself, or there's so many of us out there today who are understanding how to really help
yeah,
people
yeah.
heal.
So what are kinds of things that people could see that would happen if they came to you with some aches and pains, or what are some common aches and pains that people come to you for?
Oh my goodness. So a lot of computer a
Mm,
lot of people today I'm seeing, they sit with a screen in front of them and then they sit with a screen to the side. So
mm,
you see people who are constantly like this, like their head is constantly turned a little bit because they've
okay.
got that screen to the side. Well, if your head is constantly turned a little bit, your torso is also going to be a little bit rotated, and then your low back's going to start to hurt, and then your knees are going to start
Oh gosh.
a whole cascade. I'm seeing a lot of this lately.
Oh yeah, because
Um,
more and more people are going with the double screens now. That's not that's
Not as smart.
yeah.
Yeah, ergonomics hasn't caught up with that. I'm seeing a lot of this. I'm seeing a lot of just, sitting too much,
Yeah,
back pain.
yeah.
Um,
I've heard that like that sitting is the new smoking kind of thing, right?
yeah, absolutely. And just, as we were talking about earlier, the eyes, if you're looking at devices all the time, people have lost the ability to lift their eyes up. I was actually explaining to a client yesterday who's been falling a lot lately, and she cannot look up like this with her eyes. Well, we have a reflex that when
Mm,
you lose your balance, your vestibular system, which is located in your inner ears, sends a message to the brain of that forward downward velocity, which is supposed to trigger your eyes to move upward, which triggers your neck to come back, and you right yourself. A
oh,
righting reflex.
yeah.
But if your eyes can't look upwards, you cannot right yourself and
Oh
you will
wow.
fall down.
Wow, interesting. Such a
So,
small thing that's such a big thing.
exactly. Exactly.
Wow, that's crazy. And so, do people have to work with you in person to go through the therapies?
So for now, I do work with people in person. I'm setting up a group actually in June. We're going to be launching in June. But I have on my YouTube channel, I have every week I put out videos,
Oh, great.
free info, things you can do. your feet, your eyes, your neck. Now I'm going to do a series on the neck. Yeah, contact me directly. I do have a library actually of videos for specific problems. So when people contact me directly, I'm happy to share those. I don't have them out for the general public because they are very specific, and I do give some extra explanations when I share them. At some point, I will find a way to share this library in a more helpful way to the general public. I'm not
Yeah.
quite there yet, but yeah, go to my YouTube channel. There's lots of every week I
Yeah. Oh,
have
that's good.
information, and
What's
opt
the,
into my newsletter also. I'm always sharing more information because I'm just so passionate. We've got to change this conversation. We have to
yeah.
stop telling people, "Oh, you're getting older. It's normal. You're 45.
Yeah.
It's normal to feel pain."
Yeah. Especially when you see like all the countries with the centurions, there's people that are 100 years old, they're still
Yeah,
active in their community. Instead
right.
of saying when you retire, you stop doing everything. Well, hold
No.
on a minute. We still have lots of time. We don't know how long we have, but if we look after ourselves, we can have a still very productive life. Is there,
We're living until our 90s and people retiring at 65. That's
yeah,
Jane Fonda calls it the third act, right?
yeah, because we
Yeah.
still have tons of time to do, like you could go to university. I can tell people it's just like it's the whole, and you have more time to spend on yourself now too. You've done raising your family and you can do whatever you want to do. So what are some other signs? Like, I mean, I'm not sure what to almost ask. Everyone's having a question. You know, when would people know they need to come to you and it's not just a
Don't
thing
wait
to
until you're
show?
debilitated.
Yeah.
People, I've had a few people say, I should work more with, I should focus on seniors. And first of all, it depends how you define seniors,
Mm,
because this definition of over 65 is no longer accurate, in my opinion. But if I'm happy to work with seniors, of course, but when I'm working with somebody who's in their late 80s and 90s, it's kind of late to get them back to feeling great.
yeah.
But when we're already in our 40s or 50s, and those little aches and pains are preventing you from doing the things you want to do, that's when it's time to seek out myself or another holistic practitioner who can help you to get back on track. People tend to wait until they're really suffering, and it's a shame. And I'm sure you've had it as well, where people will say, "Oh, but to work with you or to work with whoever, whatever practitioner, it's so expensive." How much is your health worth to you? What is it
Yeah.
worth to you to be able to play with your grandkids? What is it worth for you to take that trip with your husband now that you're finally retired and to be able to enjoy it? I don't want to work with anybody for the rest of their lives.
Hmm.
Do you? Do you want to work with somebody for the rest for
Yeah.
their entire life? No.
No.
I want to get you back on your feet, have fun, and refer your
Mhm.
friends.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure. Because I think that is a thing people just write it off. It's like eating healthier. It was, oh, it's too much work to have to prepare my own food. But I mean, that's one of the few things in our life we can control what we eat
yeah.
and what we do,
So true.
right? How we look after our bodies.
So
So,
true.
is there any things that people could do to maybe prevent some of the things like specific exercises? Would that be on your YouTube channel?
It'll be on my YouTube channel. I'm happy to share with you right here and now. People
Yeah,
always
well,
laugh
some
at me
people
with
might
my
not be
eye
able to see.
exercises, right?
Yeah, some people might not be able to see, so we'll have to, yeah.
So I've
Uh,
got I use a pin. You can also use your finger. And it's very simple. You're going to just, if you're sitting in front of a computer every couple of hours, just sit up straight, hold that pin right in front of you at, say, arm's distance. And you're just going to move it out to the side. And without moving your head, you want your eyes to move.
kind of over
You're going to
into
go
your
to each
peripheral,
direction.
yeah, like into your peripheral vision,
It's not
sort of.
peripheral.
No?
So peripheral is if
Okay.
I'm looking here, I'm looking at the pin and I can see my hand moving off to
Ah,
the
okay.
side. This is actually increasing your range of vision.
So you follow it with your eyes right over to the
Yeah, and my
side.
eyes are going to go up here. And this is what's really difficult for most people today is to get the eyes to look upward.
Oh,
So
interesting.
the bonus is when you do go for those nature hikes, you're going to see things that nobody else sees because they're all looking at the ground.
Oh,
And when
interesting.
you start to look up as you're walking, your posture feels so much better, but you're actually, I see hawks, I see all kinds of things when I'm out walking, and everybody else is like, oh, there's a rock on the ground.
I know. Yeah, some places really have to watch. I know I was in Mexico over the winter and you really got to watch the ground because there's all of a sudden holes and curbs that are different heights.
But you know what? Even that, if you see it from a distance, you have time to avoid. And
Hmm.
if you're looking down and you just see it when you're right in front of it, it's sometimes too late.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. So would you just do that eye exercise like one time every so often, or do you do it a couple of times?
You know what? For some
Depends.
people, it's difficult to get into it.
Okay.
So I say just start.
Yeah.
Just start, maybe put a timer, do it every 2 hours. Another thing you can do, if your computer has a wall behind it, put pictures of people you love up on the wall and just sit there and look up
Look
with
up
your
at
eyes.
them.
Make sure it's like really high up and just look
Yeah.
up at the pictures, you know,
That's
just get
cool.
your eyes to move because it's uncomfortable at first, but afterwards you really feel the difference in your neck, in your posture, and the way you feel. It releases tension. There are meditations where they tell you to just um, widen your gaze, stare off in the distance
Yeah.
as you meditate, because that really releases the fight or flight. It gets you out of the fight or flight. It puts you into relaxation mode.
Oh, cool.
Have you
Yeah.
ever tried that?
No, no.
You gotta try as you meditate. Just stare off and see, try to really look wide with your eyes. And it
Yeah.
just, you just totally relax.
Yeah. Because we're so used to being told, to close our eyes when we're meditating. And
Yeah,
there's so many different types of meditation. So that's a
yeah,
really cool one. I
yeah,
haven't heard of that. And I guess if you're outside, that'd be even better.
for sure. Or a window.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, awesome. Um, so let's see, what do we else do we want to do? So maybe we did hear already some eye exercises. So what other kind of tips can we give people for going forward? Because like I say, a lot of us are at computers, neck, shoulders. Is there another something we can do? A little something?
Uh, I always start people off with their eyes because, first of all, when your eyes are feeling better, it will affect your neck 100%.
Okay.
Smile, because when you smile, it actually pulls your head back and it realigns your posture. So smiling is a win-win. Realigns your posture, and if you're out and about, people smile back, you actually do feel better. And the other thing I tell people to focus on is our feet,
Mm,
because our feet are supporting us all day long, and we tend to wear slippers in the house and thick-soled shoes outside, but our feet actually have muscles. It's as if you walked around wearing winter gloves all day.
yeah.
Your, your hands can't move. Your feet really need to feel the ground. Um, I do advocate walking barefoot. Sends a lot of information to our brain. Our brain, another way, grounding. So many modalities use grounding, but grounding
Mm,
is actually based on your ability to feel the ground under your feet. If you're wearing shoes as your grounding, it's not quite the same. You
right.
do want to feel a little bit of a textured surface. Obviously, it's best to be, outside on the grass.
Mhm.
Um, I take pillowcases with a zipper and I fill them up with sand,
Okay.
and then just got my own private little beach.
Oh,
That's,
that's cool. That's a good
yeah,
idea. Or like we said, we were just talking about in your funny video you posted last week that you found some flip-flops at the dollar
yeah,
store with fake
with
grass
that
on them.
grass on them.
So
That's
for
so
any,
funny, but they don't have my size.
yeah.
They're huge. But yeah, we want to have sensation, and it's also as a mammal, our brain knows that the ground is supposed to be a constant. And there is some research out there with regard to lack of sensation in the soles of the feet and lack of lowered brain function. They know that astronauts in zero gravity lose multitasking abilities, and their comprehension goes down a little bit. I've never seen somebody with dementia who has good balance.
Mm,
So there is some research going on which came first.
right.
Really important to pay attention to our feet.
Yeah. Yeah. I know I have an exercise program I do where she specifically does a lot of feet exercises because it's not something that any gym has ever done that I've ever been to. Yeah.
So important. Those days when you wake up foggy.
Hmm.
I actually have a broomstick that I use for certain exercises. I'll put it on the floor and I'll start to squeeze the broomstick with my toes, and I'll hold something in my hands and get my hands and my feet doing this,
Mm.
and it really wakes me up. All that, it's just stimulation straight to the brain from the feet and hands.
Yeah, I think so important to do our hands and feet because there's so many bones in there, and it's the only place we hardly ever exercise.
Yeah, and again, coming back to devices, we're turning into creatures with claws because we're holding our phones, we're holding the mouse, we're like this all the time. And then people can't do their buttons and they drop their tea or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so crazy. Well, it's
We don't
been
want to be
so
like that.
no, we are going to be healthy and age well. That's what we're going to do.
We're going to move like
And
kids.
yeah, we're going to move like kids again. So it's been great having you on here today. And if anyone wants to get in touch with you, of course, we're going to have all this in the show notes, but what's the easiest way for people to get in touch if they want to learn more about what you do or
Either YouTube or Facebook or Instagram, you can direct message me. That's probably the best way. I do have a new website going up in the near future. It's a work in progress right now, but probably in a couple of weeks. My current website is no longer supported by the
Mm,
platform that did it, so it's
okay.
problematic to contact me through it right now.
Awesome.
Facebook, YouTube are great. Just send me a direct message, and I do answer people. I do get back to people. I
Yeah.
really want this conversation to spread. If people watch this video, I really hope they share it just to spread this conversation that we're having, that we don't have to be living in pain.
Yeah,
It's not
we
correct.
can do. There's things we can do. And that's what I just want to tell everybody. It's we have options out there. If, you're not getting the answers you want where you're going, go somewhere else and keep at it until you find the answer because there's so many
Yeah,
between the medical profession and all the holistic options out there. There is something for everybody.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So look after your health. Get out there because it's never too late.
No, it's